All right, thank you for coming. I'm Chief Kenneth Corey, the Chief of Department. Here with me is Chief Kathleen O'Reilly, Assistant Chief Ken Lair, Deputy Chief Timothy McCormick, Inspector Oswaldo Nunez, and Captain Eileen Downing. The information that I'm about to provide is preliminary, subject to change, as this incident occurred only a few hours ago, and we are still in the early stages of this investigation. Earlier this afternoon at approximately 1:30 p.m., uniformed police officers from the 47th Precinct responded to a 911 call reporting a burglary in progress at a residence located in the vicinity of East 224th Street and Bronx Boulevard. The patrol officers arrived at the residence within minutes and encountered a male armed with a gun inside the apartment. The male refused to comply with the officers' orders to drop his gun. One of the officers then deployed his taser in an attempt to disarm the male. The male ran into a bedroom, fired 2 shots, broke a window, and fled out of the window. Responding backup officers pursued the male, still with the gun in his hand, into the street, across a park, winding up next to the Bronx River, all the while repeatedly commanding the male to drop his gun. It was at this point that the suspect turned toward the officers with the gun in his hand. 3 officers then discharged their department-issued firearms at the suspect, striking him in the torso and arm. The suspect then fled into the Bronx River. The officers removed the male from the river and immediately began to render first aid. EMS arrived on the scene within minutes and took over medical care. The suspect was taken to Jacoby Hospital, where despite the best efforts of the medical staff, he succumbed to his injuries. The officers were also taken to the hospital for a medical evaluation. A firearm, believed to be the suspect's, was recovered from the waters of the Bronx River. Detectives are currently investigating witnesses, and this investigation remains active. I can take a few questions at this time.
The apartment, ground floor, do you know where the location is?
It's a first-floor apartment.
First of all, what caliber kind of gun is that?
That's a 9mm pistol. It was found to have 3 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber.
Do you have a name for the suspect?
Not releasing a name at this time.
Do you have an age for the suspect?
He's a 27-year-old male.
Any prior? Fired 2 shots?
Inside the apartment, the suspect fired 2 shots. The male has 3 prior arrests within New York City. 2 were for felonies, 1 for a misdemeanor. Both of the felony arrests are still pending in court.
Any other questions, folks? Right?
Yes. Was anyone residents of the apartment inside at the time? Did they come home to see this burglary in progress?
There was a resident who came home and encountered the suspect.
Did he point a gun at her?
That's still being determined as part of the investigation.
Man or woman?
We'll get into that later on.
Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, thank you, everyone.